And your role with Rugby Australia, can you tell us a bit about the work that you're doing over there?
Yeah, again, it's a bit of a mix at the moment. Just the men's sevens, coaching we've got 20 athletes at the moment. At the moment, I'm not working because of the coronavirus, but due back on the 1st of July, and we'll be in preparations for the 2021 Olympics now. So yeah, full steam ahead.
Nice. Okay. And I think, I was going to get into that. There's obviously the main bodies in Australia, like NRL, AFL, Rugby Australia, then all the clubs that go below that. In terms of the structure in the performance analysis and sports science space, obviously you don't need to go into too much detail, but just high level, like what are the main roles? And because, we were just talking off air about the caps now that are potentially going to come into all the sports, but how many people you could have in your support staff and what the salary caps would be, etc. But how does it work in rugby in terms of the national level and the states in terms of how the roles play out within the team?
Yeah, so we have a national head of athletic performance who oversees at least the professional teams within Rugby Australia, being the Wallabies, all the Super Rugby teams, the men's and women's sevens, the Wallaroos, and he, I suppose, is responsible for all the performance programs within each of those. But within each of those, it's a fairly traditional high performance structure, in that we've got a high performance manager who will oversee the physios, the S&Cs, the sports science staff, any analysis staff that they might have. Some are more resourced than others. Like at the sevens where I work, we're probably a little lighter on than the Super Rugby and the Wallabies, but that's just sort of what it is. The Wallabies actually have quite a sophisticated analytics staff, I suppose you'd call them. There's sort of 3 or 4 guys that are really skilled in their data management abilities that do a lot of really good work there. And outside of there, it's sort of a mix. Some teams will put a lot of emphasis and put a lot of resources into their technology and analysis departments, and others not so much.
Right.
But yeah.
No, awesome. Yeah, I wasn't aware that there was so many resources in that space within the Wallabies, which is really cool.
Yeah, there's some really good guys. It's sort of run by a guy named Cathal Garvey, and there's a sports data scientist named Andrew Novak there. That would be good to get on this podcast, actually, because they're both infinitely smarter than I am, and we're working with national teams. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, wow, awesome. Cool. All right. And look, obviously, we've already alluded to the coronavirus has obviously had a pretty direct impact on the sporting industry in Australia and globally. Are there any areas that, in the downtime that you've had, that you've managed to upskill in?
Yeah, I'm working through a Coursera course at the moment on statistics as it's applied to science by a guy named Daniel Larkins, who's a Dutch associate professor, and that's really good. That's just partly for my own research and partly just so I can have a better philosophical understanding of stats. I've also, in my downtime, developed a very modest website where I can do some blog posts, which so far have both just been art tutorials and some YouTube videos, which I've put in the posts as well. So that's kept me busy as well as doing my own research stuff.
Yeah, nice. And I was just going to say, like, I had a quick look at the YouTube videos, and they seem, if you were in the sports space, they would be really relevant, really interesting to check out. Are they, like, the work that you're doing here with the self-learning, is that directly applicable to the work that you would be doing within rugby, or is it a bit of a stretch in terms of what you're doing right now?
No, I wouldn't consider it a stretch. Anything that I've sort of learned was I wouldn't say out of necessity, but was out of me looking for a better way to do things than I was currently doing them at work. So a big part of it was trying to find a more reproducible and automated workflow with a lot of my sports science work, I suppose you'd say. And I've had some success in being able to do that, and speaking with other people that do similar roles. So it seems to be not as common knowledge as it probably could be, and a lot of people's work could be easier if these skills were more widely known. So I thought there could be some value in putting this out there for some people.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to check out more of our content, go to sporttechdaily.com or follow us on social media across Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram.